Welcome to WTF is Web3, where we untangle the uncertainties of Web3 technologies. Be sure to check out the show notes for more information, giveaways, and ways to stay in touch. You're also going to want to make sure that you're subscribed to our podcast, our YouTube channel, and our private group so you don't miss out on exclusive content, freebies, and much more. If this episode seems like it was stripped out of a longer conversation, that's because it was. This is what we call a shallow dip, because it's basically the opposite of a deep dive, where we're going to give you a brief explanation of a concept, a term, or a topic that we just felt you would dig without having to listen to an entire episode. However, if you do want to listen to the entire episode, I invite you to check out the show notes, because that will get you to that longer episode and you can hear everything in context of the original conversation. Now that we've got that explanation out of the way, let's jump into the episode. We've got a few ideas for projects to engage the audience with and make you guys a part of what we're doing here, one of which is going to be a DAO. And we've come up with a couple of different ways to go about it, and I'll just mention it. It's probably very premature because it's not a fully baked idea, but we also want your contribution to help, hopefully helping us shape what this DAO is going to be. And to explain a DAO very briefly, you want to jump in, and we'll have a whole nother episode or maybe multiple on that. But
yeah, I'm glad you brought that up. So DAO is another term that's getting thrown around. Just about everything's 3 letters. So if you want to think what's Web3, think of 3 letters. Yeah, that's a Web3 thing. A DAO is
it's DAO, not DOW, not DAO like stocks.
Yes, yeah, it's DAO.
And what's that stand for?
Decentralized Autonomous Organizations. So it sounds like some crazy self-driving robot or something like that. It's not. All it is a way for an organization, so for better or worse, a corporation, a company. Like, it doesn't actually have to be a corporation, but a group of people coming together to do something. And it's decentralized because you don't have any singular person or group of people making a decision. The idea is that everyone can get involved by voting, essentially, without having to rely on one person to do the thing you're voting for. And it's autonomous, again, because you don't need any one person in charge. So what it does is it takes a blockchain. Most of the time it's Ethereum, but it can be a lot of these other ones that you build it on top of, and you build a smart contract and you program in the things you want it to do. So instead of a company saying, we will invest in the 50 largest companies when any of them are below their 50-day moving average by 20%. Like, you can just program that. Like, you don't need someone to do it. And so you just write a bunch of lines of code to say, if X, then Y, if Y, then Z. And everyone agrees to it. Everyone puts in something. Everyone gets a little say. If there's something that they didn't think of happens, that they can vote for a different rule. And it just sort of runs by itself. And so that's a DAO in a nutshell.
And they can theoretically, I think the purpose behind it, so it's more than theoretically, but they can change the objective. It's a collective of people around an objective, and that objective could, in theory, change based on the votes of the people who are involved in the DAO. And it's very much like, tell me the differences and similarities between getting into a DAO versus being a shareholder in a company.
So they can be the same. That's sort of the beauty about it. It doesn't have to be something separate from a DAO. And there's a lot of debate on, do things even need to be a DAO? Because a lot of the goals that people have for them and the uses are essentially a partnership or a corporation or something like that. So like there's the legal separation, there's the technology uses, but some of the things you can do in a DAO that aren't necessarily possible in traditional corporate structures is that ability to not have to rely on a person or group of people to make the decision. There's unlimited trust. You don't have to trust a guy or a girl to do something, because it's just going to happen. It's programmed in. So everyone can see it. Everyone can make sure it happens. Everyone can have a say if they want to change what happens. But you don't have to rely on some potential corrupt board member or CEO or manager to be making decision and grifting you or anything like that. So that's probably like the coolest thing that stands alone from it. And you can just set it and forget it.
Yeah, I think it's going to be very disruptive towards I think there's going to be a lot of companies who elect to go with a DAO model instead of the traditional listing on a stock exchange. For a lot of those reasons, I think there's going to be some organizations that wouldn't be successful any other way. And it's a very intriguing and exciting, myriad of potentials. But again, it's going to be inherently, the landscape is going to be inherently landmined with speculation and hype, and it's going to be something that's definitely going to require some thought and navigation, because it's very exciting right now, and with excitement comes people rushing in, take my money. I want to be, the next billionaire on, a small investment. So we are going to do our best at not only explaining what DAOs are, what to look for, why they're important, where they are and aren't necessary, but also maybe some specific projects that we're interested in, that we're optimistic on, as well as, like I mentioned before, do our own and involve you guys in on it.
Oh yeah, we're definitely going to set up quite a few DAOs as structures. Like even Casey and I are just basically going to run this through a DAO, and we'll have this DAO and that DAO. Just again, learning out loud. Like it's something I'm really excited about. I'm just diving in the deep end of the DAO world. And Aaron Wright, really influential guy involved in this space. I'd love to have a conversation with him at some point. But the Flamingo DAO, which is a really cool DAO that is investing in a lot of these NFTs, and this is going to be my segue to NFTs, but there's some really cool DAOs out there, and you're definitely going to get a lot of conversation on it. But into NFTs.
All right, that is going to wrap it up for this shallow dip. But if you want more information and more conversation, I invite you to check out the episode notes and our channel, because not only can you listen to the entire conversation from which this clip was stripped, but there's also going to be more episodes that do a deeper dive on this specific topic. Thank you so much for tuning in. I want to make sure you don't forget to check out the information and the links in the show notes. Some of that stuff is going to get you into freebies and raffles and contests and all sorts of other promotions, but also we've got a private group dedicated to our listeners and our followers. We would love to see you there, love to see you collaborate, join, and get exclusive content that we are only distributing through these other means. Speaking of distributing through other means, I want to make sure that you're also subscribed to our podcast, our YouTube channel, and again, join that private group so you know everything that we know as soon as we know it.